busy and you know you can't sit here and enjoy the whole thing of poetry with us tonight. Poetry tonight. Feel free to check out the recaps, the clips, some of the quotes. They will be available on Threads, Facebook, Fanbase, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. The Takas. Okay? Check it out if you miss any part of it, okay? Because I'm going to get into it, honey, and it's a good poem tonight. Alexa, go back. Let me get it to my jazz. Yeah. Let me get it to Alexa, go back. Trying to get to my jazz, honey. I got some Najee for this. Alexa, go back. Alexa, ooh. Act right. Go back. Alexa, go back. Alexa, go back. Yes. Just a classic little bit of Najee for the poetry, guys. Okay? Alexa, pause. Now listen, guys. Tonight, this poem is called Souls for Sale. Lend your ears. Souls for sale. Lend your ears, because you may know someone going through a transition, or that may have gone through the transition, and things have changed. Personalities, character, the person. The poem again is called Souls for Sale. It is my original poem by NadinePoetry1. Okay? Alexa, play. She said, I sold it. And many wondered what was for sale. They didn't see her with anything different, not an increase in her state of being, but she was convinced that she had sold it. But we noticed she was acting inappropriately. She would smile when smiles were not being granted. She was sad when everyone else was smiling. All we knew was that she had told us that she sold it. We still cannot figure out exactly what it was. She didn't drive a new car. She didn't own a new home. What it was, she said, I sold it. She repeated it often when she came around. All we knew was that she had got a little thin. And when she was asked about it, she said, well, I am doing it for the win because I sold it. And often we were concerned that she might have been losing her mind. Well, she was. She was in a state that no one can understand but her and those that had bought whatever she claimed that she had sold. I didn't make it her bold, but it did surely take hold. As she was thin, and she thought she would win, but in the reality, she was only in the beginning of losing. What she thought she could gain from selling what she sold. Nobody understood, but she knew what it meant. She started to look a little frail. Her hair was thin. Her nails had grown long, to the point that no one can manicure the situation intact. Claws, they were, as she scratched the surface of what she thought was a win. As she got frail, and then her hair got thin. And even her feet looked a little bigger because she had no skin to support her ankles to make them look the size that normally would match her body. But she told it. Oh well. Then he came around to visit after Grandma went home to glory, and he told everybody, I am not giving up no money for no headstone. I am just here to observe. I am not the fruit that fell far from the tree. I rolled all the way across the sea. No one is like me, he said cheerfully and with glee. So she turned to him and she said, he is who I would like to be. Just then, we had figured out what was sold. When we looked at him, and after she leaned back and she gave us the whole fold, she had sold her soul. He had already done it, and he was living in it. She wanted to be like him, so she went ahead and she did it. They were sellers of their souls, so they could try to win what they thought they could not hold. It had made them nasty, bitter, cold. It is how they had to be. For once the soul leaves the body, it no longer belongs to the holders of it. It is actually in the hands of those that have convinced them that they can win if they go ahead and live completely in the devil's den of their sin. Their souls were gone. And they were trying to be the ones that give out scorn to those people that still had souls within their bodies that they adhered to. Because they knew there was an ending place for them to go to. And for those that let go of their souls, for whatever they thought they were going to get in their earthly gains, their souls would dwell in hell, and there it shall remain. Guys, that's it. Again, the poem is called Souls for Sale, guys. Yes, yes, yes. Let's get into it. Again, if you missed any of the poetry, please catch the recaps, the quotes, the clips of the Imperfect Poetry Thursday. It will be available to you guys on Saturday morning and going forward. Please feel free to partake in it. And I like to cut out the little funny parts of it just to keep you laughing, keep some humor going, because sometimes my poetry can get a little serious, when you're talking about souls for sale. Serious thing. Be careful of your associations when you are on a journey to gain in 2025. Be careful. Careful not to sell yourself cheap for expensive consequences. Impressionable minds will follow you because they have been watching you. Guys, please be tapping the screen. Send your love. Show me you in this poetic flow. Show me you in the poetic flow. Tap the screen. It's just a little tap, 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 tap. Okay? Send your love. Send your love. Okay? Yes. Impressionable minds will follow you because they have been watching you. So careful not to sell yourself cheap for expensive consequences. Okay? Nothing you sell comes without a consequence. You know what I mean? Yes. Okay? When you come back to reality, you might regret it. That's why you don't sell yourself cheap for those expensive consequences. That impressionable mind may have journeyed too far after watching you and following you, may have journeyed so far to the mistakes that you've made, and you can no longer save them. You can't catch them. You can't get a grasp of them. You know what I mean? Because they've sold themselves cheap. Because you, maybe me, may have been doing things, selling our soul, and not aware that those impressionable minds have been watching. And we can't turn them back. Even if we're in the midst of regret and we want to say, stop, wait, don't do it, because this happened, we can't turn them back. Their mind is made up. They've watched you too long. This poem is about impressionable minds admitting, in this case, a woman admitting that she made a sacrifice for temporary gains. I have a question. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. I'm glad you like joining me. I appreciate it. And yes, I will follow you as long as you send a follow. Okay, that's the algorithm. Okay. Yes, see, I like to see. Yes, entrepreneur. Yes. Thank you for joining me, my dear. I appreciate it. And then who was that we have picture? Thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. I'm inspiring you. Listen, because this is real. We don't talk about this, okay? Impressionable minds may journey too far after you've made the mistake and you can't reel them back in. They've made up their mind. They've watched you too long sell yourself. This poem is about the woman that made the sacrifice to get temporary gain. And yes, it is temporary gain. See, I got Keisha Cole. Shout out to the beautiful Keisha Cole. I play You Change because You change when you are selling yourself. You change. Something about you. Maybe it's your look. Maybe it's your attire. Maybe it's your speech. Maybe it's your size. Okay? But yes, whatever it is that you are making a sacrifice for, it is a temporary gain, because reality is when you die, that really is your forever. Okay? You design where you dwell in that afterlife. And it starts right here. It starts right here. Okay, so be careful not to sell yourself cheap for expensive consequences. Okay, maybe somebody coerced you into doing something that you normally wouldn't do, and you know it ain't right, and then now you got to pay back. You got to pay back. Mama and them used to say, take your time, and they said it for a reason. So you know what you are doing. So you can be mentally equipped. And I didn't get it back then. When my mom used to be like, girl, take your time. Hush your mouth. Speak when you spoken to. I used to be sassy. I got popped a couple of times. I still got my teeth. May she rest in beautiful peace, my mama. But it was purposeful. You know what I'm saying? She said, don't you rush to get old, because you may step into the devil's den, honey. And your mind may not be mature enough to deal with what comes with that rush. I see it happen all the time. Okay? I too have been a victim of it. Thankfully, not to the magnitude where I couldn't come back. You know, and not nothing really detrimental. You know what I'm saying? But there's mistakes that I've made that I said, I regret that. And I can't change it. I can only do better going forward, because I need to plan my destiny after this life. Okay? Some mamas used to tell them, use what you got to get what you want. Some mamas are saying that. And many of them are not specifying. Many of them are not specifying. So now you got these girls and boys out here using whatever they got to get what they want. And then they got to live that. They got to live that. And then it becomes a generational thing, because if your mom and daddy said, use what you got to get what you want, and then you teach, use what you got to get what you want, your kids going to use what they got to get what they want. Somebody in the family is jacked up. Somebody, they jacked up. I got a question. Hi, thank you. Very nice. Thank you. Thumbs up. I appreciate it. Thank you for joining me. Sorry. Thank you for liking the live. I appreciate you guys joining me tonight. But let's talk about it, all right? The generational curse of misbehavior. Nobody talks about it. Let's say it. Say it. I said it. Mom and I'm talking about go use what you got to get what you want. Now, some of these girls out here using what they got to get what they want, and they ain't getting the things they really want. They selling themselves for cheap for an expensive consequence. So she went ahead and took the extra step so they can look like they have much in their earthly gains. We see that every day. We see it on TV. We read about it in the blogs. We read about it in the news. All right. But now what they don't tell you is they have a debt to pay with their soul. They have a debt to pay. Okay, and we see it, and then they making it to the point where we can't even mention it. You know, back in the day when your neighbor could regulate on you, what you doing? I'm gonna grab your ear. And then they took you home to mama and daddy, and mama and daddy ain't pull out a gun and try to shoot them and try to fight them. They making it where we can't regulate these things no more. It's messing up the culture. It's messing up the generation. All right. What about those who actually do get a little something over nothing after they have sold their soul? You know that they are convinced that they are better than you and I because we took the long way, okay? Because we took our time. We didn't rush the situation. They think that they are better, and they think they know everything now. They gurus. They gurus. My mother used to say, don't give somebody a little something over nothing that they ain't used to nothing. Because child, they think they know more than you. They gurus. Ain't picked up a pen, ain't studied nothing. They just bumped into the situation because they put their soul on the line and they got a little something over nothing. And now they gurus, honey. They gonna school you. They gonna school you and they gonna scorn you. Okay, because they gurus. They did it. They made it. They got there before you. They did it. They gurus. All right. Thank you for joining me. Yes, man. Thank you for joining me, darling. I do appreciate it. I'm just trying to get into it. Can I get into it? Okay, it's like you know those women, right? You grew up with a bunch of women, right? And all the women, they get a certain age and they get married. They start getting rings, honey. The men start loving them and they get rings, honey. And then you got that one friend, she done went around the block.